That's why that guy was smiling so hard in the future. He's not happy. The AI is watching his fucking ass, and if he doesn't smile exactly ear to ear, it's over for you, buddy. Look how happy he is. The fucking robots are watching. You brought up UBI and universal basic income. Could it not be linked to another thing like that? Oh, we're talking monthly here, friend. Monthly.
No, there's a lot of people are going to lose their job. Reset 2030 is they're going to try and eliminate people's debt. And they're going to say, look, you lost your job, but you also lost your debt. So now you don't really have to work. But as long as you just get everything from the state, you'll be fine. You won't own any of it, though. If you take it from us, if you take the UBI, if you take that check, you can't really own a mortgage, though. Because, like, we're giving it to you, so you don't really own the house. We're just kind of giving it to you.
Okay, but in this situation,
and that's like kind of how I believe it's going to be said or expressed, let's say.
So if you own a house and now you've lost your job and you have debt on the house, and they come in and remove your debt.
No, exactly. They'll say, you keep the house. Wherever you were, you keep it.
Okay, well, that's what I want to know.
Yeah.
Do you get to still live in your house?
Yes.
Or do you have to move to a condo?
No, I think
to a public housing.
It depends on the situation, how much debt you have.
Because what if you're like in a mansion and they're like, you get to stay in your mansion.
No,
and another guy's like, I have a little house. You get to stay in your little house.
I think they would just clear it. I think it's like a credit card wipe.
Well, that's what we...
Is it not like the slow implementation of like removing money at some point?
No,
it's the ability.
Because money is their ability.
It's their ability to barter.
And money's their magic. Money. The story of money and the fear around money, and the fact that we need more and more and more of it, and it's a perpetual growth system, and that it is a social currency, is the magic wand that they're waving in front of all of us. That's making everyone sell out. That's why people are cutting down trees and forests. That's why they're freaking buying things from China and shipping it over and doing drop shipping and blah, 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 sell all over the world for any knick-knack and thing. Because at the end of the day,
it's an easy mathematical equation.
It's an easy mathematical equation, and it's the God that the most amount of people in the world believe in.
Because they see it work.
It is the world's biggest religion.
They see it work.
If you think about money from another perspective or another context, it is just the world's biggest religion that we all believe in. And not everyone believes in it, but a very strong majority believes in it, and it works for them in many cases.
How is it a magic? It is basically tied to time, which is another form of magic.
Symbol.
Time is money, right?
Yes.
Both these things are forms of magic that are intertwined.
The fact that exists, that statement exists, is interesting.
Yeah, because they're both magic. It's Gregorian calendar shit. This is owned by the Vatican and run by Jesuits. They came up with time, and if you run on their time, then you're part of the system that they control. And you think, it doesn't matter. I just say it's 12 and da-da-da. Yeah, dude.
But it also says it's Monday.
It also says that you get paid $21 an hour, and you think that's a thing. There's people in this world that don't operate like that, friend. Like, when I work an hour, it's not always the same fee, because that's not how the universe works.
Wisdom with D right here.
It's just not how it works. Sometimes you strike gold, friend. Sometimes you're in the mine, and you work for an hour, and you struck a nugget. And that's just what it is. And you know this too. Sometimes you're at the flow. You don't even have to push that hard, and it just all happens.
Oh, that's my whole life.
Because you're there at the right time. But if you thought Gregorian calendar, I'm only supposed to work from 9 to 5, then sometimes you're pushing against things that don't work. You're there, and it's just not working because the energy is not right. And had you just allowed yourself to be, you would have never been in that situation. But it's a form of taxation and money, and you're in a farm. You're in a farm. And there's no real way out of the farm. There's only a side economy that you might not be aware of if you're not part of it.
Well, the best way out of the farm is to start your own farm.
Of course. Definitely.
That's what I'll say.
Because when you really boil it and distill it down, we are all trying to eat, shelter, and fuck. This is what we're trying to do. So the fucking is already handled. They have apps for that, right? Now, the problem is, we don't all have housing.
Or whatever latest app people are
using. We don't all have housing, so we have to work to pay for the housing. And we don't know how to make food either, so we have to work to get the food. But really, we just needed those two things, but we're working to constantly buy them perpetually. It's not
Well, so we're
smart.
going from A to B through C in many scenarios. And
Yes.
we're just always using the interface of money.
And
But
that's
when
why
you're-
the
hold
farm
on.
makes sense.
But when you use money all the time, what you're doing is you're using you're entering the system where it's being taxed consistently.
Yeah.
It's being taxed in fees from your bank. It's being taxed in fees in your transferring from currencies, different currencies. It's being taxed through the government, through everything you buy with money. So it's this constant chipping and gnawing away at the money that you actually earned. So it's a weird way of, it's actually kind of the weakest way of trading. Because if you were to trade in other things, then you don't have to have that same tax involved.
I think it's always going to be necessary. Humans will always find a certificate
Sure.
of worth, because you don't always want to be traveling with the actual worth, possibly due to robbery, right? So you don't want to be always
Some
in
people
that.
are weak.
So we're going to do that. But what I want to bring up is, if you have a farm and the farm produces,
do.
and the farm produces enough money to pay the state what they want, the taxation on the land, and we also paid for a building.
Yeah.
Now we have
We
the
get to keep it.
building paid for by the food, and we also have the runoff of the food. So now what happens? Now you're free.
Yeah.
Because your whole life, you were just trying to get those two things.